Let's move on. I'm delighted to say we've got Shane Williams on the line to help us preview Wales against Ireland. Shane, you're very welcome. Thanks very much for taking the call this morning. We're really looking forward to one aspect that has emerged over the last 24 hours. It looked like Dan Levy was going to be starting for Ireland. The papers this morning, though, are reporting there's a possibility Sean O'Brien gets the nod and gets to start a game against Wales and against Warren Gatland for the very first time since the Lions tour and all the controversy that blew up in the aftermath of that. We're very excited about that. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, look, I don't think it really matters in Ireland who plays in the back row these days. They have such an abundance of great players. But, yeah, of course, if Sean's back and after all the controversy of the Lions, it brings a bit of extra motivation, I suppose. But as far as Ireland is concerned, both those players you've just mentioned are world-class individuals, and collectively with a very good Irish team are capable of causing Wales problems, and if it's Sean, probably Warren Gatland more problems. So no, look, it's we knew that this could be a possibility. It's both extremely very good players, and I'm sure whoever plays, they're going to give it their all.
Is Warren Gatland the type of a head coach, Shane, that will get a little bit annoyed by that? And if he gets a little bit annoyed by that, would he pick that player and target him?
No, I don't think so. I think Warren Gatland's got to where he is because he's kind of been able to shrug off things that have happened in the past, things that have been said about him or collectively as a team. You know, at the time, these kind of things do affect you, but a good coach can kind of, it's water off a duck's back, really, because you've got to get on with your job. You've got to make sure that your players are focused and ready. And if the main man, if the coach is rattled and ruffled and rustled, I think you know it translates to the players. So you know, Warren won't be thinking about that at all. I think you know, I think Levy's a class player as well. That Warren's probably thinking as well. Well, that's one less problem to worry about. However, Sean O'Brien's world class himself. So you know, they both cancel each other out as a selection, really.
Shane, at the start of the tournament, I thought that Wales were going to win the Grand Slam, and here we are, they're on the verge of it. It just looked to me like they were on a complete roll from last year, where Gatland seemed to be playing the long game while everybody else was very focused on the short-term results. He's been building depth and winning games without necessarily having his frontline starters in place. And then the tournament rolls round and you've got an abundance of confidence because there's competition for places, there's strength and depth. And even though they had some injuries coming into the tournament, there was a sense that the players who were available were in form. This is about as strong a group that Wales have had, it's possible to say, in the last decade.
Oh, well, certainly within my time, this is the strongest group of you know, players that Wales have had the fortune of choosing from. You know, when I won the Grand Slam in 2005, we had a good side that probably overachieved. No one expected us to do well, and we went on and won that. In 2008, we had a very good team, very good squad, but probably nowhere near the strength in depth that Warren Gatland and Wales have at the moment. You know, there's world-class players that aren't even in the squad or haven't even been into the training, into the Welsh training camp and setup. So, you know, Wales are in a good position. You know, Warren did say that he's obviously focusing on the Six Nations, but he is, you know, he does want a successful World Cup, and it's about building for that as well. And I don't think we've seen the best of Wales yet. I think they've won these games by almost being in fourth gear, which, you know, I mean that respectfully, because they've had to dig in deep. They've had to perform when they've been asked of by the other team. You know, second half against England, first half against Scotland. You know, really tough second half against France. But, you know, we really haven't seen the flair that I expected to see in the Six Nations yet. Yes, he's made a few changes here and there. And just goes to show he is looking forward and looking to the future for the World Cup. But I think there's still a lot more to come from this squad. And I totally agree. It's without doubt the strongest squad I've seen Wales in my lifetime.
What kind of a performance are you expecting then this weekend? Do you expect a little bit more of that flair to emerge? Like, obviously, Ireland's game plan is built around suffocating the opposition, so it's hard to be particularly full of flair when that happens if Ireland manage to get a foothold. But at the same time, it's the final game, and the teams have tended, these two teams in particular, have tended to play their best rugby in the final game of the Six Nations. So what do you expect?
Yeah, well, I don't expect there to be much flair, if I'm honest. I think Ireland have got this uncanny knack of really spoiling Wales and how they want to play, which it's a cliche, but it is going to be a real arm wrestle. It's going to be a battle up front in the set pieces. Wales' set pieces hasn't gone particularly well. Ireland will target that. Both back rows for Wales and Ireland are world class. That's going to be a real mess on the ground, and there's going to be spoiling, and there's going to be turnovers. So I don't think we're going to see like a slick, high-tempoed game in that sense. But we've got both teams now that have two very good coaches. Tactically, they know exactly what's coming from the opposition. It's just how do you nullify that? So, it is the last game of the Six Nations. Anything can happen. We've seen some really classics, Ireland, Wales, in the final games of the Six Nations. Could go either way. 05, Wales win the Grand Slam. 09, Ireland win the Grand Slam in the same place in Cardiff. It could be the classic in that sense, but I don't think it's going to be about flair on the weekend. I think it's just about the battle of attrition, isn't it? Knowing the tactics and trying to stop them from scoring points, and the likes of Sexton doing an O'Gara and 09 and getting a drop goal in the last couple of seconds. So it's going to be a great game, and the matchups and the individual matchups are great.
Are there any specific selection issues ahead of the team announcement that you're expecting? Are there big debates happening in Wales at the moment, or is the team fairly settled?
The team, I'd say the team is fairly settled. I think, we've, apart from the Italy game, Warren Gatland's been pretty consistent. The ongoing debate in Wales since the 60s is who starts at 10. And I'm sure that'll continue. If whoever gets selected today, I don't think there'll be many people in Wales that'll be disappointed. Hanscom's doing particularly well when he starts a game, and Dan Biggar certainly makes a difference when he comes on. But people are saying that Dan Biggar perhaps should be starting at 10. It's a big game. He's against World Player of the Year, and I think for me that would be the only change. I'd have Dan Biggar starting, and everything else keep as consistent as it has been, and then we got a chance.
And of course, it is Warren Gatland's last Six Nations game as Wales coach. I guess we won't write the kind of tributes to him as Wales coach until after the Rugby World Cup, but from an Irish perspective, it's probably the last time he'll come up against Warren Gatland in the Six Nations, maybe. What is the legacy of Warren Gatland? What is the future hold for this Welsh team?
Oh, look, I think Warren Gatland's put this Welsh team in a very good place. Like we've already mentioned, the strength in depth is the best it's ever been. The selection of players is the best it's ever been. The confidence within the group of players is incredible. And Warren keeps saying, we're finding it very difficult to lose at the moment. And that's what I mentioned when I said, they're not really playing their best rugby. However, they haven't really looked like losing games, even when they've been, 2 scores down. And I've never seen that in a Wales jersey. I've never seen that such a confidence within a group of players, and that's what he's left and the legacy he's left. What happens to Warren Gatland now? I don't know. If he goes on and wins the Grand Slam and is successful in the World Cup, I'm sure someone like the All Blacks will come and knock him pretty sharpish. They tend to enjoy taking Welsh coaches away from Wales and making them world champions. And Warren Gatland being a proud Kiwi, maybe that's his next job. Who knows? I'm sure. One thing I will know is that he won't be short of offers.
Yeah, like you mentioned the confidence there that Warren Gatland instills in his teams. How does he do that, Shane? Because you look at the game against England, that is just a deep reservoir of desire to actually get over the line in that game. And after being there for so long, it's incredible that he still manages to turn out these performances.
Yeah, exactly, and it's difficult. It's something that's taken him a long time to do. He didn't come in and become the Welsh coach in 2008, and already we were like, right, we're going to win every game we've got. We don't know how to lose. It took a long time. He has been within that squad for 11 years. He's had the same coaching staff. He's had a majority of the same players with him the whole way. Ali Wynne-Jones, for example, Jonathan Davis, and they've probably just realised now the potential that this team has, thanks to Warren Gatland. And when I was playing, if we'd lose a big game, we used to be the hard lines team. We should have won. We didn't do this right, but never mind. We'll have them next time. If Wales lose now, it's like, how do we lose that? We shouldn't be losing these games. Right? We'll win the next 12 on the bounce, and that's just what confidence and desire brings to you, really. And Warren is a confident guy. You've only got to look at the start of the Six Nations. We win France away, and we win the Grand Slam. Now he's one game away from doing that, and everyone giggled when he said that. But Warren Gatland didn't, and neither did the Welsh team, and that's what he's brought. And I really thoroughly enjoyed my time underneath him, but I would still love to be playing now under him, because the confidence within that team and himself and the coaching staff is just through the roof.
Yeah, Shane, enjoy the game. Thanks a million for taking our call.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Shane Williams, that was great to have on the show, giving us some thoughts there. It is amazing that Gatland, because so many coaches seem to have a limited lifespan, and the word creeps out that the voice wasn't resonating with the players anymore. And then you look at the greatest coaches of all time, and they had longevity and they've had the opportunity to build all the structures that they want, and their voice seems it's not the sound of their voice that is the thing that the players don't like.
You wonder what it is. What is the culture in an environment where that longevity lasts? There has to be, I think there has to be an element of fear.
Benevolent dictatorship.
Yeah.
Or the opposite of benevolent. Malignant dictatorship.
Potentially. I think there has to be an element of fear that really there is kind of, if you're not in the good books of that head coach, you're not going to sulk, because the sort of veneer of that head coach is so strong and it is so everlasting that you must improve yourself and you must prove yourself to that head coach. And there's an element of fear in that, and I think that's, I don't know what Warren Gatland has done. We haven't been on the inside of the Welsh camp, but I'd imagine there's an element of that.